A beloved character returns to redeem his shameful past by stealing a bunch of cars, having meaningless sex, and generally creep out everyone he meets in the film and the audience alike. We watch The Jesus Rolls starring John Turturro as we wrap up our series on character actors from Coen Brother films. Today on Nothing Movies.
There's a certain man, every once in a while, a man who comes by, a man who's the man for his times. But sometimes there's another man, a louder man, an obnoxious man. I'm talking about the Jesus, you understand. Sometimes a man thinks that his character is popular enough to have his own movie. Well, partner, that's just a rustling tumbleweed going through the... I don't know. Sam Elliott's hard to do.
I was going to say, Kaz, you have both Danny and I here who have pretty low registers. I think either of us could have read that.
No, the guy with the highest pitched voice is the one that has to do the Sam Elliott impression on this episode. Also, I didn't write any of that down.
Okay.
Also, I came up with that like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, and you would have pitched that to me and I would have said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I've stopped pitching you anything at this point in time, Jameson, because I know it's going to be met with... What I should do is I should pitch you things like well in advance, but my issue is I always throw things at you seconds before we're about to hit record, and that's often what you brush up against, I feel.
Yeah, you gotta do like what the South Park guys used to do and have the really outrageous stuff that the censors say no to, and then it's like, okay, well, this is the stuff we really wanted to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're back in that era now.
We are,
which is fun. Who knows how long that will last?
Mm-hmm.
Originally, my plan for an introduction was I was going to put a hat up there on that shelf, and I was going to get you to give it to me, and then I was going to say, "Never give another man the high hat!"
Okay.
I don't get that reference.
No, hell no, I don't.
Well, someone has not been watching Coen Brothers movies this week. And welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Nothing Movies, where we ask the question, the fuck is this? It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made, and decide whether or not they've got a certain something, or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
And I'm a whole lot of something. I'm Jameson Rafter.
Aww.
Yeah.
You're a whole lot of a whole bunch of...
You're damn right I am.
Yeah. That was from the film Miller's Crossing, written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen, starring John Turturro, the subject of our podcast today, because we are in the midst, well, actually, no, we're at the end, we're at the finish line of our miniseries on Coen Brothers character actors. Today we're talking about John Turturro. Now, there are any number...
Oh, and Danny's here.
Hi.
I'm fucking getting to it.
All right.
Round up. Danny Marquardt is back.
Hey, buddy.
And better than ever.
Your fourth episode?
I've lost count.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I believe I litigated this last time and I was horribly wrong. I was like way off or whatever. I was all like, it's like your sixth time, right? Or whatever, but it's like...
Your second time back.
It's significantly less. Yes, Danny Marquardt is here. He is, many people have often said, the John Turturro of our podcast. In that he continues to...
That's not a compliment given this movie.
Not this movie. No, that's true. Well, here's the difference, Danny, is that when John Turturro is popping up in other people's movies, he's very often the best part.
That's fair.
And used sparingly. When he is the writer and director and star of his own movie, results may vary.
The cracks start to form.
Look, we could have covered any number of movie that doesn't exist starring John Turturro. He has a lot. There's a lot that's streamable right now that we could potentially do episodes on. But since this was tangentially a miniseries about the Coen brothers, we kind of had to land on this one. Or at the very least, I pushed Jameson into doing this one. And
Frankly, I'm kind of surprised we haven't been talking in depth about a lot of Coen brother movies per se on this. Didn't you say at the start that like, oh yeah, I'm getting one up on those two other movie podcasters when they cover directors?
Blank check with
Yeah,
Griffin
I
and
can
David.
finally get my thoughts in on Coen brother movies, and we've nary talked about a Coen brother movie.
Well, they have started. Incidentally, they have on their podcast. They have begun their Coen brother run up. So I've had to edit my own thoughts to make sure that I'm not jumping on top of somebody else's opinion here. But look, we can squeeze all the Coen brothers talk into this episode because the film we're discussing today is 2019's The Jesus Rolls. To date, the only movie where they have spun off a character that has been created by the Coen brothers. The Coen brothers themselves had nothing to do with this movie other than apparently giving permission to John Turturro to let him bring back the immortal character of Jesus Quintana. And oh boy,
I can see why they wanted nothing to do with this.
So
go right ahead, John. Knock yourself out.
I do wonder if they're still speaking following this. Right before I watched the Jesus Rolls yesterday, I rewatched The Big Lebowski just because it had been a minute. Hot take, great movie.
One of the funniest movies ever made.
I had considered burning one before I started watching it in honor of the dude, but I decided against it, and I watched it stone sober, and I almost fell off the damn couch laughing, because it's like, you don't need to alter your state at all to enjoy that movie. It's one of the most well-written films in the Pantheon.
I thought about rewatching it before watching this movie, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because I think I would have hated it even more if I had that fresh in my mind of how great The Big Lebowski is.
I have to say, after I was done, I felt like I should have flipped it. I should have watched this first, and then I should have watched Big Lebowski to soften the blow.
As a palate cleanser.
As a palate, yes. Exactly.
I knew I didn't need to rewatch The Big Lebowski because I must have seen The Big Lebowski 100 fucking times.
Yeah. And needless to say, The Big Lebowski filled with memorable supporting characters that could absolutely sustain an entire movie on their own. Way down that list, though, I'm going to wager is the character that actually managed to get a spin-off. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second here.
I mean, he steals the two scenes that he's in, but he is so inconsequential to the entire plot of The Big Lebowski. He's a fun little detour. He's a nice little tease of what awaits the dude outside of the overall mystery that he's embroiled in. He's just like a glimpse into the life of what the dude has to deal with outside of solving, the case of what happened to his rug.
I love John Turturro. I love him in many movies. I love him in most of his Coen brothers appearances. I wouldn't go so far as to say he steals his scenes in Big Lebowski. He more so hijacks his scenes at gunpoint and forces you to upgrade him to the central character of the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, Danny, because according to Jameson, we've just been leaving the Coen brothers dead in a ditch for these past 2 episodes. What's your overall take on the Coen brothers movies? And if that's maybe too big of a question, what are your takes on Big Lebowski? When was the first time you watched that? What's your overall feelings on it?
I've always loved Coen brother movies. Even some of the solo ones that have been coming out, I've made a point to try and watch and have generally enjoyed them. Even when they're less great, they're still enjoyable. They're icons of the film industry, for sure. For The Big Lebowski, I probably watched it when I was a teenager for the first time and immediately loved it. Echoing what you guys have said, fucking hilarious and so whimsical, but in a dark way. Mm-hmm. It's a dark movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just so lighthearted at the same time and irreverent. And I have to assume that most, if not all of the people listening to this will have seen The Big Lebowski, and I have a hard time. I haven't met anyone who was like, oh no, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, I have to imagine, in terms of that's the thing about the Coen brothers, is that even if you don't consider yourself to be a cineast or anything like that, like someone who like loves movies and like understands directors and stuff, you've probably heard of the Coen brothers. And even if you're maybe not like on like first name basis with the Coen brothers, you've definitely seen Big Lebowski, and I'm willing to wager you've also probably seen Fargo and maybe one or two other ones like No Country or whatever. But Big Lebowski is the one that like sneaks its way into, you know, like lovers of foreign cinema and like college dude bros. Like everyone enjoys that movie on a certain level. And I think the interesting thing to remember about Lebowski is that when it was released, it was a huge flop.
Oh, yeah.
People did not like it at all because it was the immediate follow-up to Fargo, which was their big Academy Award success. It was the first movie where everyone, critics and audiences alike, started taking the Coen brothers seriously. And then when they released Big Lebowski, both critics and audiences did not get it. They were baffled. And that's really hard to wager.
It's hard to fathom these days.
It's hard to fathom with these days. Like I sat down and I watched it, and it's like, how are you not immediately all in when the dude says, obviously you're not familiar with golf? Which happens so early, but it's just like, when that line gets dropped, you're all like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm all in on what this movie is going to give me.
It felt to me like the first cult movie that I could have been a part of, because it was released in like the late 90s. 1998. I watched it, you and I probably watched it for the first time back in like 2004 maybe.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So like there was just like enough of a groundswell potentially from online. People should really put more eyes on the Big Lebowski. It's really criminally underappreciated. And then it seemed like almost overnight we all caught that wave that, yeah, this movie's fucking hilarious and it's brilliant and it's deep. And yeah, I think after that, like that entire movie has just been off to the races. And it has such a following where they can say that, oh yeah, like you can highlight that these different characters you can interpret in many different ways. Like they're saying something about various types of religion. They're saying about various types of philosophies. I mean, they have like those conventions. It's a lifestyle that the dude has spearheaded. Yeah.
I think the interesting thing on this rewatch about Big Lebowski this time is that you can watch it as just like a perfectly functional dark comedy that just it has all these irreverent. Thank you. Those type of characters, like these wacky.
Irrelevant is what our podcast is.
It's many things. It's a multi-hyphenate podcast. Yes, but it's you can watch it as a pretty standard comedy. It's the inclusion of the Sam Elliott character that really starts giving it like this
otherworldly kind of feel.
Otherworldly added layer to it, where he like pops. He's the bookends of the two movie, and then he has like his two mysterious appearances in the bowling alley, and you're just left and like you can answer almost any question from that movie, but at the end of it, you're just all like, what was the deal with that character, with the stranger?
He represents everything from like an angel to like a bygone era to like the old America. And then he's just like another fascinating part of that entire fabric. I was once on a cruise ship and I was just cozying up with someone at the bar, and we were just like shooting the shit or whatever, talking about their lot in life, and then I say something to them up to the effect of, well, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes the bar eats you. And they said like, oh wow, that's so insightful. Is that some sort of Eastern thing? And I said, far from it. Knowing in the back of my mind where that line came from, and it just like sprung up organically, and I was like, that one's for you, Jeff Bridges.
I thought you were going to say you were at a bar at a cruise ship, and
Sam Elliott.
Well, you turned around and then all of a sudden there was this spirited cowboy that seemed to came out of nowhere asking for that good sarsaparilla.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a cruise ship. It was the Roadhouse.
That's more like it. So John Turturro, very parallel career to the last guy that we talked about, Steve Buscemi, appears in a ton of Coen Brothers movies, although it's actually not as many as it seems. He only appeared in 4. Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, in which he is the titular character, Big Lebowski, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he hasn't appeared in a Coen Brothers film since. But like Steve Buscemi, he also has his own career as a writer and a director. Like Steve Buscemi, he's criminally never been nominated for an Academy Award. And like Steve Buscemi, he's a New York boy, born in the Brooklyn borough. His younger brother Nicholas is also an actor. We've
covered him a couple of times.
We've discussed him a couple of times. His cousin Ada from The Sopranos is also an actor. He has been married to actress Catherine Borowitz since the 80s. She appeared in a couple of his movies and has since retired to be a social worker. His debut film, a pretty good first film to have on anyone's CV, is Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Where he appears as an uncredited extra, but he is very noticeable in one scene where he is sitting at the same table with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro because he looks like John Turturro. No one else has that nose. You see that man in profile, you very, very much able to identify that as John Turturro. But yes, his first role on camera was an unspeaking role in a Martin Scorsese movie. 6 years later, he spins that into a memorable supporting role in Martin Scorsese's The Color of Money. So it only took 6 years for him to go from uncredited extra to
co-lead
to sixth build in that movie. So yeah, he moved very fast when things started getting moving.
What a director to hit your wagon to.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, just much like, I'm going to say much like Buscemi like a couple of times here. But, yeah, the people that Turturro has worked with, it clearly speaks to his work ethic and how many people want him in their movies.
We'll say yes to the Jesus roles.
Yeah. I mean, look at the cast he was able to assemble for this. It's a pretty impressive thing. But
I think that speaks to the name of the Big Lebowski too, as well. Of people wanted to be a part of that universe in whatever way they could.
If I had to guess, that's the reason I'm going to assume Pete Davidson has shown up in this movie. He heard it was Big Lebowski related. And
I'm in.
Absolutely, I'm in. And then he read the script. I'm like, you want me to do what? So from there, his career gets started. In 85, he's in the film Desperately Seeking Susan, which is Madonna's first movie. He's in the awesome film To Live and Die in L.A. You guys ever seen that?
Nope.
That's a great fucking William Friedkin picture. It's like if Grand Theft Auto was a movie.
Okay.
William Peterson is just playing this crooked cop.
So like the Jesus rolls.
It's you know what?
They steal a lot of cars in this movie.
It's a little similar. I actually had that observation too, Danny, that this movie has a little bit of Grand Theft Auto energy. Not when you're playing the missions, just when you're going around and fucking around and carjacking people, and that's essentially the plot of the movie.
Ahead of its time today.
1989, a very memorable role for him in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee is a filmmaker. He plays the son of Danny Aiello, the owner of the pizza shop. He has a spirited back and forth with Spike Lee in that movie. That's one way of saying it.
Sure, okay,
that's one way of saying it. But Spike Lee loves him. He's appeared in 9 films with Spike Lee over his career. He's appeared in more Spike Lee films than the Coens. The year after Do the Right Thing is Miller's Crossing. Now, I'm guessing based on my earlier gaffe, Daddy, you haven't seen Miller's Crossing?
I have, just a long time ago.
Just a long-ass time ago. When I've been rewatching Coen Brothers movies lately, I've watched the first 3. I watched Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, and Miller's Crossing. But much like you, I hadn't seen... This was my second time seeing Miller's Crossing. I hadn't seen it in years. And 10 minutes...
It's a gangster film, right?
Yeah. 10 minutes into it, I'm all like, holy crap, why don't I watch this movie every couple of years? It's just an awesome fucking...
I was floored by it the first time I watched it. And much like Danny, I've only seen it the one time. Kind of don't want to go back to it.
The parts of it are really hard to stomach. In particular... John Turturro. This is a really memorable role for him that got him noticed by a lot of critics associations, playing sort of the despicable low-life character Bernie Birnbaum, who in the film's most memorable sequence and on the poster of the movie is taken into the woods of Miller's Crossing by Gabriel Byrne and is about to die and just delivers the most pathetic performance of someone just begging for his life. There's no dignity. There's no humility left in this man. This is just like a man at the absolute end of his rope. And it's so hard to watch because he's just fucking just like, look into your heart. No, he's really phenomenal in that movie. Okay, so 1990, 1991, he does the two Coen brothers films back to back. He does Miller's Crossing and Barton Fink. Do you have any thoughts on Barton Fink?
I remember watching it and being a little disappointed. My understanding of it at the time was like, oh, it's some like art house film, and it kind of was. It was weird. It was a long time ago, but I remember being not super thrilled about it. But
that's not one of their more pleasant ones.
Yeah.
It definitely ends on like a huge downer note.
Well, it definitely ramps up near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you find out like exactly who John Goodman is meant to be. Yeah.
Jameson and I have mentioned on this podcast before, that's one of John Goodman's top 3 performances in Barton Fink. He's fucking so scary in that.
He basically plays the same character that he does in Community, if I remember correctly.
Except with better air conditioning in Community.
1994, he's the lead of Robert Redford's Quiz Show, which was another huge role for him. A movie, a great example of like a movie that got nominated for a ton of Oscars, but when it came to Turturro, he got left in the reeds, even though he is the main actor of that movie. But playing a real life guy who went on this quiz show and basically became a whistleblower when it was revealed that they were feeding answers to somebody else because this character that John Turturro played was just purely not a likable person. 1998, he's in Rounders.
Yeah.
Classic 90s movie, Rounders.
Love Rounders.
That's the same year as Big Lebowski. 2000, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? To date, his last Coen Brothers movie. He could come back. I mean, if they forgive him for Jesus roles, that is. If they ever reunite.
He's blacklisted now.
If they ever reunite themselves. 2001, I could not mention, of course, he is the voice of Monkey Bone.
Oh, he is?
We all remember he is the voice of Monkey Bone. A movie that I really wanted to like. Watched it a bunch growing up. I don't think it's terribly good. I don't think it worked. I don't think I ever crossed the threshold with Monkey Bone. I think it remains not good. Like,
that's the one you should have watched high.
I watch most of my movies high. 2002, he's in the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Collateral Damage, which was famously held back because of the actual 9/11 terrorist attacks. Also in 2002, he is in Mr. Deeds, which, much like Steve Buscemi, he has worked with Adam Sandler a bunch, although not nearly as much as Steve Buscemi has. He's only appeared in 4 films. Anger Management.
So about the same amount as the Coen brothers.
Exactly, yeah. What's the other ones? Anger Management. You Don't Mess with the Zohan. He's the villain in that. And then The Ridiculous Six, in which he plays the inventor of baseball. Abner Doubleday, in, if I'm remembering correctly, one of the only funny bits in that movie where I'm
sure you're mistaken.
They stumble
there are no funny bits in that movie.
That is true. They stumble upon John Turturro in a field, and it's like the first time he's putting baseball together, and he forces them to play baseball, and every time they like advance, he comes up with some new bullshit baseball term or whatever, like no fly ball on a double field. That's right. Those are words that
those
I'm saying,
sounds like
right?
baseball.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those sound like baseball, right? Funniest movie. 2003, he's the lead of a Nicholas Winding Refn movie called Fear X. So the guy who did
Drive and
Valhalla Rising. 2004, he's in the Johnny Depp film Secret Window. I remember him from that trailer a lot. You Stole My Story.
Haven't seen it.
No. All right.
I feel like I remember that ad, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Johnny Depp's like a writer. It's like a Stephen King story, and he's like writing alone in a cabin, and then John Turturro, dressed like an Amish man, knocks on his door, and he goes, "You stole my story."
It's a really good impression.
Thank you very much. Nobody fucks with the Amish man. 2007, he starts his surprisingly long tenure as one of the main actors of the Michael Bay Transformers films.
Is he in the entire series?
He's not in the entire series, but he is in the very first one, in the second one, and I believe the 5th one. So I think he only did No, he's in the third, because the third one, inexplicably, the third Transformers movie has John Turturro, John Malkovich, and Frances McDormand.
Good lord.
Just like weirdly overqualified cast for that one.
And not voicing fucking,
no, they're actually there.
Or whatever.
They showed up on set.
Okay.
Their faces are visible.
Okay, yeah.
2007, he's in the nightmarish The Nutcracker in 3D, where he plays the Rat King, and inspired a bunch of nightmarish imagery. That's a crazy movie.
Is that one of those Robert Zemeckis bad humanoid CGI?
No, it's not the Polar Express.
Okay.
It's like actual people. This was like an actual. This was like a Russian filmmaker. Whenever you hear like a 3D movie getting released, but it's not through like one of like the major studios, it's almost always like one of like the hardest to watch things that you've ever seen, because they don't have the budget to do it correctly.
Well, we gotta start thinking about our Christmas episode this year. So.
That's true. I mean, we might have had enough of John Turturro by this point.
Sure.
But 2013. Now, our show is called Nothing Movies. If we were true to that concept, what we would be covering would be the film God's Behaving Badly, in which he plays the role of Hades to Christopher Walken's Zeus. The reason why this is such a perfect segment for our podcast is that that movie was never officially released.
Yeah,
if we could ever track down a copy of that, we will have to probably do an episode on that. I don't know.
Well, we must.
We must scour the internet.
Lest ye be liars and frauds.
Indeed.
Really?
We gotta do that at least one time. We gotta at least cover like a movie that no one has ever seen. But 2014, he's brilliantly cast as the Pharaoh of Egypt in Ridley Scott's Exodus: Gods and Kings.
Oh no!
The most appropriately cast movie of all time.
No.
Which I'm gonna say, out of everyone in that cast, John Turturro is maybe the most accurate, and that's largely because he's Italian. So he gets closer to Egyptian than, say, Sigourney Weaver, who plays his wife in that movie. And then 2022, he gave my personal favorite performance in this movie. He's in The Batman. In which I think he's fucking great, because it had been like a really long time since I had seen like scary John Turturro in something, but he's really intimidating in that, and I really enjoyed his turn.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that he didn't reprise the role for the Penguin TV show. It was good that they recast it as Mark Strong, because it's meant to be a younger version of that character. Did you hear why he didn't come back for the Penguin?
I just heard it was scheduling conflicts, but have you heard something else?
I heard that he really disliked seeing himself visibly choke a woman on the big screen.
Sure.
So he's like, I have a really bad association with that part and with that role, and I just want to distance myself.
Wow, well, he went to a really dark place, and maybe he didn't enjoy the place that had brought him to. So there we go. I guess I won't see any Batman-level performances from him anytime soon. There we go. But he's a busy man.
I wanted to bring that up because that's going to dovetail into our discussion about choosing which characters he wants to reprise.
Yeah. It's Jesus or nothing.
Yeah.
Well, he did make the Batman after the Jesus, so he's on like a journey of self-exploration. But he's a busy man right now because, of course, he's on one of the most talked about shows on television right now. Is a member of the cast of Severance.
Yeah.
Along with his co-star in this movie, Christopher Walken.
Co-star. He shows up for 2 minutes.
He really shows up, yes. And coming up, I thought this was a nice little capper to our Coen character actor miniseries. Coming up, he is in a film called The Only Living Pickpocket. And his co-star in that movie is last week's subject, Steve Buscemi. So they're back together again, so we can look forward to that in the future. But there we go. That's my redacted filmography on John Turturro, because again, the man has been in so many things. I only really talked about like 10 movies, but
I appreciate your restraint.
I'm hella restrained right now. What are your favorite Coen brother characters?
Characters?
Yeah, like through any movie.
Excluding pretty much everyone from the Big Lebowski.
Sure, I mean they're all great. But okay, who's your favorite Big Lebowski character?
The Walter.
I mean, Walter's pretty incredible. What do you? I got an answer, but
I was gonna say Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men if we were excluding the Big Lebowski, just because I think he's such a brilliant character.
Of course. Oscar-winning performance. But
like the menace with talking about darkness mixed with whimsy that I kind of alluded to talking about the Big Lebowski earlier, like. He personifies that with that ridiculous haircut that he has, but being like one of the scariest villains of all time.
I mean, a great example of adaptation, right? Because Anton Chigurh isn't a Coen Brothers character. He's a Cormac McCarthy character, but he has become a Coen Brothers character through the choices that are made, and that haircut is like a big
it's a
part
choice.
of that.
Yeah, that was a choice.
That haircut and Javier Bardem's performance is what makes him a Coen Brothers character.
Absolutely.
I mean, to sport a haircut like that, he'd have to be pretty fucking fearless and intimidating.
Just rewatching Lebowski, I mean, like, you're hard pressed to pick out like the best performance in that because they're all incredible on a certain level. But I was just blown away this time by Philip Seymour Hoffman as Brandt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was gonna pick him as my guy.
That's one of the funniest performances I think put to every. That's up there with Randy Quaid in Christmas Vacation. I think everything PSH does in that movie is funny. Every reaction he does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just I'll suck your cock for $1,000. We love her. Just like great shit. Like the way that he just like so casually refers to the dude as the dude's like, well, dude, we just don't know. Like everything he does is so great in that. And of course, Donnie, R.I.P. Donnie. He was too pure for this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the one of the theories is that
he's the best. He's the best bowler. And
no, not my fucking theory. The theory that Donnie doesn't exist. He's a figment of Walter's imagination.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because because the dude also refers to Walter. Is the dude just humoring Walter?
Well, that theory would lead credence. What about the credence?
A lot of credence. Yeah, exactly.
No, it would lead more credence to it if the dude didn't have one line exchange with Donnie.
Yeah,
where he's like, "Phone's ringing, dude. Thank you, Donnie."
Also, whose ashes are those? If Donnie isn't like a real person,
that's the part of Walter like finally letting go of.
He's a war buddy.
He's a war buddy that died in Vietnam,
and he's just been carrying around his ashes.
Yeah, the memory of him forever.
Well, they go to a guy and they have to like pay his like.
They're finally getting around to it.
Tax or whatever. All right, well. We could talk about the Big Lebowski all day, but unfortunately, we have to talk about
an inferior movie.
An inferior movie, we can say that. A bad movie, maybe not bad in the way that I was expecting it to be bad. Not good, but it was over. It was
different breed of bad.
It was like that. Yeah, it's like that Clone High joke where Joan of Arc shows her film, and then everyone takes a minute, and then all collectively goes. That's what the Jesus Rules was for me. But
well, you guys have had me on X number of times. The number is undetermined.
There's no way. There's no way.
There's no way to know.
There's no way of looking it up.
The answer's lost to time.
Yeah.
But this was by far the least enjoyable movie that I've had to watch.
Wow.
So this will be your final appearance on the show.
We've made you watch some crap.
There's been some objectively bad movies, but this one, it just didn't have any charm to it. It was just dead. It was a dead movie. There was nothing there. And I expect we'll get more into it, but if we're just giving initial thoughts, it was I think even the other few that however many it was, you guys didn't enjoy them, but I'm like, yeah, I loved it. It had a
little something. Yeah.
It had heart,
Yeah.
There was no heart in this. It was just.
I'm just running through your appearances, and I'm just trying to reckon with the fact that you liked Son of Dracula more than this.
I did like Son of Dracula
more than this.
To be fair, that movie did have a Merlin in it, so this movie is severely lacking in Merlin.
And the charm of Ringo Starr being Merlin, that's
something.
That's the whimsy that I'm here for. There was none of that.
He licks the bowling ball.
He did
that in the other movie.
In the better movie.
Do you remember? Remember that? Okay, we'll take a little break, and when we come back, we'll start
get into it.
Dissecting this. We'll see whether or not we strike out. Or another bowling term. All right,
good one, bud.
Before we split.
Hey!
Sometimes.
That's where you end it. You end it on that one.
Sometimes
Hit.
there's a...
No, shut up, Seth. Okay, so we are back, and Kaz is looking up something on your phone? What do you got there, bud?
That's not the weirdest thing in the world for someone to look up their phone if they're producing a podular cast for the auditory senses.
All right,
if you're sitting at home in your boudoir and you have this spinning on the Victrola, you know, you've pressed
welcome back, everyone. We're here watching
a wax cylinder. 2019's The Jesus Rolls was filmed in 2017 and sat on the shelf for several years before it got released in February of 2020. Not the best time to release any movie, but certainly didn't help this movie at all.
Really not worth the wait.
As previously mentioned, written and directed by John Turturro. This is the fifth film that he has directed. His debut film as a director is the 1992 film Mac, which is an intimate family drama where a trio of brothers start a house building operation, but the eldest brother, played by John Turturro, is a bit of a perfectionist, and it leads to tragedy. He's also directed the putting on a play film Illuminata, the weird jukebox musical Romance and Cigarettes, which has an amazing... all of his movies have amazing cast. That movie has James Gandolfini, Susan Sarandon, Kate Winslet, Christopher Walken, Steve Buscemi, it's amazing. And then his final film is the film Fading Gigolo, in which he himself plays an older gentleman who decides, much like Rob Schneider, to sell his body to lonely women, and he convinces his best friend to act as his pimp. And of course, in 2014...
Oh, then Woody Allen, right?
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
That hasn't aged like milk at all. Absolutely. But The Jesus Rolls, you might be interested to learn, is actually a remake of a 1974 French comedy drama called Le Valseuse. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. In North America, it was given the English title of Going Places, but that is not the literal translation of Le Valseuse. The literal translation of that is testicles. Sort of.
Okay.
Well, okay, here's the thing. This is a new segment called Kaz's Culture Corner. In French...
is culture spelled with a K?
Yeah. Exactly. It used to be Kaz's Culture Club, but I had to stop that for obvious reasons. In French, if you want to say the word testicles, it's literally just le testicule. If you want to say balls, you just say les balles. But if you want to say balls meaning testicles, you say le valseuse, which it literally translates to the waltzers. I don't know. French is a fascinating language.
They got a different word for everything over there.
They do. They got like masculine, they got feminine.
So you know what's crazy is with this being a remake of a French movie, that's when the other shoe dropped for me. It was like, okay, yeah, this sort of has the vibe of something that the Europeans would have come up with.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
have different conventions over there.
They make things different down there is what they do.
Yeah, over there in fancy talking Europe land.
Over there in Paris, France,
Yeah.
they go around. The movies don't have plots.
Yeah.
And they just kind of like ramble around.
But I did a cursory glance at the IMDb page of that French movie, and holy shit, like not only is it a remake, but there's like scenes where they like are doing shot for shot remakes. There are moments where they're wearing the same costumes as the people in the French movie. So it's just like, why not just do like a remake of that French film? Why shoehorn the Jesus character into this?
You've asked the $1 million question, Jameson. It's like, obviously, John Turturro is a fan of this movie. He wanted to remake it. That's all fine. Why also make it a spin-off of the character from The Big Lebowski? The two things don't mesh. They don't. They react badly when you force them together like this.
My theory is that he did that so he could get funding for it. He could guarantee an audience on opening day.
I suppose. Well, it didn't work because his movie barely got released
On the day it was meant to. It came out in 2022.
But also, John Turturro as a filmmaker doesn't seem all that compelled about like getting audiences to see his films. He makes films largely for himself.
Okay.
This is a film entirely made for the director, for him.
A vanity project.
This is a vanity project, pure and simple.
I got that vibe from that film. I was watching this. I'm like, why did this get made? John Turturro wanted to, I don't know, have a moment. And I always think when people are like the main creator of a film and it involves them feeling up women, that generally there's...
This movie may have inadvertently revealed some interesting sexual politics about John Turturro's actual life.
Yeah.
This and the fact that, as I previously mentioned, the movie he made right before this, where he cast himself as a gigolo, he maybe is using his art to work through some stuff. I also mentioned earlier he's been married to the same woman since like the 80s, so he seems happily married or whatever. Maybe he's just using these projects to like get his freak on.
The art of filmmaking is how he gets a lot of stuff out of his system.
Yeah.
It's his masturbation.
It is.
There it is.
It's an incredibly masturbatory film, so that is apropos. No, you say this is like a shot-for-shot remake, Jameson. A bit of backstory. So when I was like, I don't know, like high school age or whatever, I would go to the school library. And I would just like look at like the books on cinema that they had, and they had like a big encyclopedia type book. I don't remember the name, but like it was like a bunch of movies by years or whatever. It was like a bunch of information that like a dumb nerd like me just like absolutely ate up. And I remember flipping through it, and I remember getting to the segment on this movie, the 1974 film, because the picture that they used for it is the three of them in bed together, and that picture is just of like the woman is in the center and the two guys are on the outside, and there's a single breast visible. And as like a 14-year-old or whatever in like the
They had you hook, line, and
school
sinker.
library, you have like that magical moment where you're just looking at books, and then all of a sudden it's all like, there's a boob in here. No one else must know. I have discovered a boob in the school library, and no one else must know that I'm aware of this. So yeah, color my surprise when I sat down to watch this. That shot is like in the movie with her in the middle and the two guys on the opposite side. That's taken almost directly from this first film, and I'm sure there are plenty of other shots that are taken directly from it too. Now, thankfully, I read the Wikipedia synopsis of this movie.
Oh yeah, that like the original.
Thankfully, he didn't take everything from this movie, because if he had, he would be in jail right now.
Yeah, the original one tends to go over the line more than once. And I guess for our delicate North American sensibilities, John Turturro had the good sense to kind of reel it back a little.
I won't go into all the details about what was changed, but suffice to say, the French film both begins and ends with sexual assault.
One of the things that I was kind of, because I read up a little bit on the original as well, and we're not quite talking about the film just yet, but like one of the first things that the movie does is retcons the Jesus character.
It makes sure to do that in the opening 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as literally everyone listening to this knows, 8-year-old's dude is a famous line from the Big Lebowski referring to the Jesus having had some indecent activities with a minor.
This is the other thing. Now, like, out of all the characters you could have spun off from Big Lebowski, you choose the one who is immediately identified as a pederast in that movie. But yes, John Turturro made a big deal of, within the first 5 minutes, explaining that was just all a big misunderstanding. Don't worry about it. He don't touch no kids.
All a big misunderstanding, but the theme of the original is like extreme sexual deviancy.
Yes.
Like, it would have been probably a more interesting film if they had found some way to like I don't know, if you're gonna have that shock value, like, then have the shock value and have him literally be a pederast to a degree, and have that. I mean, like, it's dark, but the original is dark. Like, make a dark movie. This movie wasn't even dark enough to be interesting.
And look, the reception to this movie was absolutely nuclear anyway, so it's not like adding all of like the salacious shit in here could have made the reception to it any worse than it already was. This movie already doesn't exist, so yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Except I would argue that, don't remake this movie is what I would do.
Well, it's like he doesn't like how he was portrayed in The Batman with him strangling a woman. So he didn't go back to that role. Like, one of his more famous roles is as Jesus in The Big Lebowski. So he's like, I don't really want that to be my legacy. Let's try and do some revisionist history on this character. He's like, okay, he's not exposing himself to 8-year-olds. It was all just a big misunderstanding. Now, off to my sexual escapades and my crimes of passion.
It's so funny that he adapts this screenplay to be to be about the Jesus, and then he rewrites Jesus's backstory to explain that he wasn't a pederast, when the character in the original screenplay that Jesus is standing in for engages in pederasty. It's written into the original, and again, I'm not advocating for this. Don't put that in your movie at all. But it's so strange that he decided to go through all these loops.
I think I speak for the entire podcast of saying that we do actually endorse pederasty.
Oh, dear.
That is the stated objective platform.
This is going to be Danny's last episode.
And ours.
Yeah. Much like God's Behaving Badly, this episode was never released.
Yeah. So
we're joking.
Yeah. So Jesus is released from prison.
Please, the Jesus.
The Jesus, yeah. He was released from prison. The warden, played by Christopher Walken,
for 2 minutes.
Yeah, in a blink and you miss it fucking cameo. He just says, "You get in trouble one more time, the Jesus, and we'll lock you away forever. Also, thanks for helping us win the prison bowling league." Which I guess,
because lest you remember, there's exactly 2 things we know about the Jesus.
Yeah.
He's a damn good bowler, and
nobody fucks with the Jesus.
And nobody fucks with him, and also 8-year-olds.
And
dude.
also
but
8-year-olds.
But also, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And yes, it's in the Christopher Walken opening here that we find out the details of his aforementioned pederast charge, where he was using a public urinal, and there was an 8-year-old boy not even next to him, like a couple of urinals down.
And he strikes up a conversation with him.
Well, I think the implication is that the boy noticed Jesus's very large, I don't know,
Dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Or testicle, as is the French title.
As is the French title, yes.
Yeah. He's got one big ball, a bowling ball.
He's looking at his big swinging balls. He says, like, wow, that's really big. And Jesus is just all like, not bad.
Yeah, funny you should say that. There's an interesting story there. And then, a guy comes out of the stall and sees and
it's just all like, it was a big misunderstanding. It wasn't even like a thing. It wasn't even like Charlie Day in Horrible Bosses, where he like had to go pee and he happened to do it at a public playground, but it was nighttime or whatever. That makes more sense as like a pederasty charge, but I don't know. We had to fucking...
Are we saying justice for the pederast here, Cass?
Justice for Charlie Day. Anyway, so Jesus is released from prison.
Yeah, he's picked up by his buddy Petey, who is played by what's this guy's name? Bobby Cannavale.
Bobby Cannavale.
Okay, yeah. I like him. He's a good guy.
Rolling around here playing the role of Petey. I had this thought earlier today when I was thinking back on the movie. What's Petey's deal? How do you describe the character of Petey? Does Petey have any discernible facets of his own?
Any of them?
I would say that, like, on the majority, every central character of this is at least given, like, one primary thing. Even if that thing is just they love having sex.
Then he's the buddy.
He's the buddy, and like his primary thing. I mean, again, talking about testicles, he just spends the entire movie complaining about his testicles. Now, to be fair, he does get a bullet put in one.
No one misses. It hits him in the thigh.
So it hits him in the scrotum, which is testicle adjacent.
Hits him in the thigh.
I wrote down scrotum.
Well,
maybe
you're wrong.
Maybe I was thinking of something else.
The doctor says, according to the end, he would have lost a testicle.
There's a fun moment where Jesus is getting arrested, and there's a couple of mariachi men in in a prison cell.
Oh yeah, that was
Gypsy Kings.
The
right?
Gypsy King, two of them anyway.
Okay.
Two of the Gypsy Kings. That's the closest we get to like Coen Brothers energy in this movie, and it happens in like the first 2 minutes. We never get anything that inspired again. Although there is lots of Mexican music in this because it's following the Jesus. So
I did like the music. That's one thing I'll say about the film. I like the music.
Liked a couple of the tunes. So the Jesus is out of prison now, and almost immediately he steals a car for a nice little joyride. He loves committing crimes and stealing classic cars, and he steals the one that's old 70s Charger owned by a local hairdressing legend, John Hamm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, he styled this like sort of like a celebrity hairdresser. He has like cardboard cutouts of himself outside of the... If this was meant to be like a bigger like celebrity type character, like he was like modeled off of someone, it went completely over my head.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, this looks like a fairly small town too, in like upstate New York.
wherever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought Jesus was LA based.
No, he was released from a New York State prison. So I like. There's a whole bunch of backstory here that they don't explain, like how he got to New York, what happened to Liam, his old bowling partner from the Big Lebowski.
Oh, the dude with the mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this movie's biggest cardinal sin is not we don't learn more about that guy. Case in point, I didn't even know he had a name.
Oh yeah,
I thought
Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up.
I thought he was just Jesus's bowling partner. I don't know. But yeah, whither art thou,
Liam?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not in this movie.
Still more character development than Petey.
But yes, they steal. They steal John Hamm's convertible. They take it for a little test drive. They go to see his mother,
Jesus' mother. Yeah.
who is
Was her name Mary? Did we catch that?
I believe she is just known as Mother.
Missed opportunity.
A huge missed opportunity, yes. Played by the great, beautiful Sonia Braga from Kiss of the Spider Woman and other Spanish films of that nature, yes. But she is with a gentleman caller.
Well, she's a prostitute.
She is she's
a sex worker.
A madam. Yes.
She's a hooker. Say it, Cass.
I shan't, because that to quote a Coen Brothers movie, that's not the preferred nomenclature, Jameson.
Yeah.
But
Jesus has a fairly contentious relationship with his mother's chosen profession. He chastises this guy for like, what, you didn't think that she would have a son? You got to treat a woman like this correctly. And he tells his mom to go put some more clothes on. He loves her to death, but he can't stand the fact that she's a working gal.
It doesn't bother you, Frank, to do the horizontal with my mother?
Excuse me, I didn't know.
You didn't know? You have sex with the man's mother in the family bed?
Marquardt?
My glasses. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a son.
You didn't know, man, but now you know. She's got a son, man.
I mean, like, I would want to get out of that situation as soon as possible, because Jesus is a very...
Bit of a maniac.
He's not a character you necessarily want to get on the wrong side of. But yeah, when he asked the question of all, like, didn't you think that she was my mother? It's all like, everyone's someone's mother. I don't know. It's all like, that's not true, though.
Yeah, I was very confused by, as I think this will be a running theme, very confused by this scene. Because, like, yeah, what kind of a question? Didn't you think she had a son? She's like 60 years old.
She probably has a couple of kids.
She might have grandkids at this point.
But also, this is a lady's business. What a lady type of business she wants to run out of her own boudoir. And yes, I'm using that word correctly this time.
It's not a place where Kaz lives.
You don't know.
You're not here on certain days.
It's where Kaz does his work.
I have my gentleman callers coming in. Actually, we have to wrap this up by a certain time. But just like ruining this lady's business, But then Jesus, of course, gives her a big roll of money. Jesus is like very well set financially in this movie.
Well, he keeps robbing people.
He does keep robbing people, but also it seems like he has like some big stacks just coming out of prison. Like it seems like he just has. It's just like that classic Homer Simpson bit where he just always has big wads of cash whenever he feels like it. But I suppose the off-screen answer is that he's just robbing people when we're not seeing things. He's just taking things because he's a scumbum. But I think the implication here is that his mother was the one that bestowed him with the nobody fucks with the Jesus title. At the very least, she says it in this scene here.
Yeah.
She's very proud of her son, very proud of his bowling abilities.
Yeah.
I think what was notable about that for me was it was the last Big Lebowski reference in the film. Like, there's like a later bowling scene.
There's one line that's coming up.
He does the thing later where he says he'll stick a gun up someone's ass and then pull it.
Right.
It says,
Yeah.
click.
Right.
Look, he does the majority of his dialogue from the Big Lebowski because, again, the majority of his dialogue is like 5 lines from that movie. He's really not in it for very long.
Well, I mean, most of it came up in the beginning because, like, Christopher Walken talks about, like, I've never seen anyone lick a bowling ball, and I'm not even going to try to do the Christopher Walken impression, but there's, like, that line, and then it's, like, yeah, there's that one extra line, but, like, it's very sparse, and you're right, like, there's only a few lines to go from, and they use kind of all of them.
Yeah, they fall into the same trap that all of these released way too late sequels to comedies do, where they try to go back to the well of using those same jokes again, but they decided, let's just get that out of the way in the first 10 minutes of this movie, because we got to get to a remake of this fucking French movie from the 70s
that
no one
everyone remembers.
Yeah.
And everyone remembers fondly.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not problematic at all.
The meat of this film.
That's what people came here to see. So they returned the car to John Hamm, and
Because they were just borrowing
they were just joyriding with it.
They're criminals with ethics, don't you know? Yeah.
Yeah, John Hamm, he's out there brandishing a gun. He says that this is the 3rd stolen car of his this year. So he's going to punish these 2 guys. And his girlfriend, or employee,
I guess employee,
yeah, is an old acquaintance of Jesus, Marie.
Marie, played by the absolutely adorable Audrey Tautou from Amélie.
Oh, that's her?
That's Amélie.
Oh my God.
That is
Wow.
Amélie Poulain.
Huh.
Yeah.
This really was a star-studded
This
cast.
absolutely was a star-studded cast. Yeah. This is the interesting thing I learned about Audrey Tautou when researching this movie. So yeah, Amélie was her big break, and she's continued to work in French films, and she works in a lot of other languages as well too. Mm-hmm. She's definitely like a world actress cinema. She did one fairly successful British film called Dirty Pretty Things, where she's like the second lead of that. Outside of that, though, the only 2 times she has ever appeared in an American movie are The Da Vinci Code and The Jesus Rolls. And most interesting of all is that apparently, to date, this is her last on-screen appearance. She's only done 1 voiceover role since this movie. She has not appeared on screen since 2019. So I guess doing this made her realize
Just lost all of her passion.
There's
for
nothing
movie
else.
making.
There's nothing else for me to accomplish.
Yeah.
I hit it out of the park with the Jesus rolls, but yeah.
Yeah. So John Hamm shoots Petey in the ass, and then
in the thigh and or testicle.
Yeah, he shoots him, and
I feel like I should point out. I'll do this a couple of times. The differences between this movie and the original. In the original, Marie is not an old friend of the Jesus character. She's just a random woman that they kidnap and sexually assault.
Okay.
So this is
And
a
who
point
likes
in the,
it? Who continues to hang out with them for the entire rest of the movie.
So this is a point in the Jesus Rolls favor, I suppose.
That's a low
faint
bar.
praise. Yeah. Oh, the bar is it's scraping the tile,
Yeah.
Danny. Yes.
Yeah. So they got to drive Petey to a doctor. John Hamm is not in the movie anymore.
No, he's just gone.
His character is brought up, but he's never seen or heard from again.
Jesus also kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And all he can weakly respond with is, "I'm a hairdresser, man."
Oh, dude, I'm a hairdresser. Nobody fucks with the Jesus, man. Nobody. Woo! Fine.
Yeah.
I love John Hamm, but he's given nothing to do in this.
No.
Just an absolute waste of a ham.
Yeah, and I love comedic John Hamm.
Of course,
but he's got fuck all to do in this.
So they need to take Petey to a hospital, so of course they drive him to a mechanic.
Well, they need to ditch John Hamm's car.
Yeah.
So they meet up with JB Smoove there, who's working at the scrapyard, and they say, "Hey, mechanic, get us a car, and in exchange for that, this lady, she'll cut your afro." And they do that. And I read in the Wikipedia article that instead of exchanging a car for a haircut, they exchange a car for having sex with that woman.
Yes. Not with her consent, incidentally.
Lovely.
Yeah. So yeah, in the original, JB Smooth's character gets in on this, and I have to imagine were that pitched at him, he would have some things to say about that. But the scene that Turturro plays out, obviously it's not as bad as that, but it's still pretty insulting as well too, because JB Smoove has this crazy unkempt afro, and Audrey Tautou is presented as like this brilliant hairstylist that'll give him a cut. He'll look so handsome. And she just buzzes him. She just shaves all of his hair off. And he's mad about it for like 2 seconds, and then he moves on because he realizes nothing in this movie matters. And who cares? But it's like, look, the subject of cutting a black man's hair is a very sensitive subject. I know you don't just shave all of it off. That's like not the way you approach that. But
Speaking as a barber?
Speaking as an ally.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
yes. So they need to get the bullet out of Petey's thigh.
Yeah,
all right,
whatever.
his thigh.
So they go to this all-night residency doctor, who's played by Tim Blake Nelson.
Yes, another Coen Brothers reunion here.
Yep. In his one scene, he patches up Petey, and then Jesus robs him, and that's it for Tim Blake Nelson.
That's largely all he has to do.
So far, we've had a lot of celebrity cameos in this movie that were on set for like maybe 10 minutes, and now they're gone from this fucking movie.
That's true. We had like 3 in a row where they kind of don't do anything.
This is the Room levels of like bringing in something and just never addressing it again. Of like, I definitely have breast cancer, and then you never hear it again. And like same thing with all these characters. It's like John Hamm gone, Christopher Walken gone, like all of these people that could be brought for some kind of continuity to the story, but they're just disappear and never are heard
There's
from again.
There's definitely a couple of scenes immediately after this where Bobby Cannavale references the fact that he's been shot very near the testicles, but shortly after that, I think him as an actor just gives up.
Yeah.
And he just like forgets that he has like a wound down there, and he's just walking normally for the rest of it. So.
The bandages disappear after a little bit as well. I did catch that. Yeah.
He did have probably my favorite outburst of the entire movie, where he's talking about how he wants to get revenge on John Hamm.
Yes.
And their plan is to ditch his car on the side of the road for it to just get delivered back to him. But what they're going to do is they're going to sabotage it by sawing halfway through the axle, so that next time he's out on the highway or something, a wheel falls off and he'll veer off a ravine and kill himself on there.
It's a very complicated plan that you feel like that's going to be one of those things that's mentioned and then forgotten about. Weirdly, that comes back in a deeply unsatisfying way.
Yeah.
But we will get to that. So yes, so they make like this brilliant plan of leaving John Hamm's car on the side of the road for someone to find, and then later on, when he's driving it, he'll end up veering off the road for himself. But in the meantime, they're having a lovely luncheon outside on a patio. And Marie decides that she's going to change clothes because they've gone shopping, or maybe they've just shoplifted. Who knows? Who's to say?
And then, 2 motorcycle cops just come by to, I don't know, like get a coffee or something. And Jesus and Peter are like, oh, fuck, just act natural. And they casually walk away and ditch Marie.
They don't casually walk away. They're the most, like, obvious, like, don't look at us type thing. I think they, like, hold hands even. And, like, the motorcycle cops weren't there for them. They weren't looking for them. There was no reason for them to ditch Marie. But it's the first of a couple of times that they ditched this character.
And now it's just, like, a fucking montage of them stealing various vehicles, getting chased away by farmers and shit.
Well, it starts off with, one of the most uncomfortable in terms of what's going to happen scenes, where they go to a train station, and there is a woman breastfeeding, and they sit down and they just look at her, and they just stare directly at her, and I'm just all like, what are you sociopaths doing? Leave this woman alone. And I guess I don't need to go into it, but needless to say, in the French version, this scene plays out very differently in a way that I think you could probably put together yourself. I don't need to go into the details here. But there's the added detail where it's like John Turturro's all like, I'm going to soften up this scene and as a result, make these characters a little more likable. Because the breastfeeding woman happens to be African American, and when she notices the two of them just like staring at her feeding her child, she's all like, what do you two creeps want? And the Jesus is just all like, there's nothing more beautiful than a strong, powerful black woman. I lost my virginity to a black woman, and they are queens. All of them are queens. And he thinks he thinks this is like endearing, and it's just like, never do this. I really worry that this is the sort of movie that someone watches and comes away with all the wrong ideas about how to behave in a society. Yeah.
I have a piece of trivia about this.
Ooh, fun.
That I was tantalizing towards Jameson earlier.
Yeah, I can't wait for this.
Yeah, so very much in line with what you're saying, he refers to her as a cocola.
Yeah, right.
And I looked it up. It's Spanish Caribbean word originally from the Dominican Republic, meaning a black person. So cocola, black woman, cocolo, a black man. And I was very curious about this because the scene is very like bizarre in the way that a lot of these a lot of the scenes of the film are. And I'm dating a woman from the Dominican Republic who is black. And I asked her, I'm like, out of curiosity, is this a slur? And it is. She called it the equivalent to the N-word.
Oh, no.
So,
wow.
Yeah, totally in
But
line
this
with...
woman is charmed.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Like, she's in Jesus' hand by the end of the scene. But,
yeah, so as far as, like, don't approach black women this way, I think it is the picture perfect of, like, I don't know if he thinks he's being charming or what.
I'm sure as far as the Jesus is concerned, he thinks that that's a term of affection because he come from a different time. You wonder, I don't know what accent that is.
I was gonna,
This is me doing like Cajun Jesus, I suppose.
But yeah, I mean, like, not just what the Jesus is thinking, but what John Turturro is thinking of, like, you know, how does he want that scene to be interpreted given the
source material.
Given the source material, given the abrasive nature that Kaz is kind of described with regards to how he's talking to this woman of color, mixed with like the fact that he's using a slur to refer to her, like, it's just what. With the scene more generally, like, it is not offensive enough to be like, oh, we're doing something edgy and artful here, like the original, I assume, was trying to do. I didn't watch it.
All I will say is that compared to the original, the scene could get much worse.
Sure, but like, if you're going for worse, then lean into it.
Or here's an idea: don't include this fucking scene.
Yeah.
What does the film gain by including it at all? It's
Other
just
than
like
just being like, you know, an acknowledgement, an homage to the original French film.
the whole film is an homage, though.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of remaking something is you're homaging it. Look, I have to imagine John Turturro doesn't want us to take away from this movie that the Jesus is a good guy. I
Sure.
think we're meant to leave the movie inferring that he's a big problem, and you shouldn't act like that. But if that's his intention, he makes him too lovable, or he's trying to make him too lovable.
Well, he comes across as like essentially neutral by the end of it. I mean, like, that's kind of what I'm saying with regards to if you want to make this dark and edgy, then do that, and then maybe have like consequences for the actions at the end of it, or just leave it because like there's. I can't remember the name of it, and maybe you guys can help me out with it. That horror movie where the guy, like, everything works out, and then the guy turns to the camera and says, "That's not how we're going to do it," and they do like the rewind.
Funny Games.
Yeah. Like where they're like, "Hey, you know what? We know what you're here to see. You people are sick, so let's give you what you want." Like, they could have done something like that for this movie, and like, you know, leaned into the problems that this film kind of creates with how it's going to be depicting all of these awful things. But like, they don't even go that far. Like, as you say, it's a pointless scene where he's just having a brief, somewhat uncomfortable conversation with the black woman, and that's it. And is never referred to again.
The black woman smiles at the both of them as if they're as if she's like charmed, but like in reality she's all like, I'm going to pretend that these men are charming so they don't murder me and steal my child.
Give that actress the Oscar right now for playing the scene as it was written on paper and not, you know, the truth of the character in the moment. Yeah. And it's so funny with this movie too, like, not funny, haha. It's strange that they will make some efforts to put some vulnerability between Jesus and Petey when they get into like the sexual politics that are about to unfold in front of us.
So here's what's surprising is that this movie's a lot queerer than I thought it was going to be going into it, but that obviously is an aspect of the French. Again, I haven't seen the French film, so I can only glean from what I've read from the synopsis. But I have to imagine, a film in the 70s. There's probably a lot more intimate scenes between the two men. Again, I can only make an assumption here, but needless to say, the Jesus very much would like to have sex with Petey, and Petey is not into it. Or at the very least, Jesus wants to be more intimate with Petey.
Yes.
That was the rapiest scene of the film, was when, he's trying to come on to Petey, and Petey's like, no, and he's like, come on.
Why not?
But again, who is Petey? We don't even really know.
I thought they were brothers when they first met.
We don't even really know.
Yeah, he's not a pederast. He's an incest.
It's an incest, yes, exactly. We don't even really know what their connection is other than they're just, friends. We don't know what Petey's deal is, so we don't know if he's, he clearly isn't, but this movie, unfortunately, does carry with it, a big no-homo type energy, which is weird because it's being adapted from something that I have to imagine was a little bit gay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so, Maria meets back up with them at the train station, and then together they break into a vacation home of the beach or something. And Petey is lamenting the fact that he can't get hard right now because he's still nursing the bullet wound. That's when the Jesus just offers himself up to him. He says no, and then Marie says
he's also quite tenderly helping him wash his wound or whatever.
Yeah,
again, there's a very intimate scene where the two of them are just stark naked. You get to see all of John Turturro's ass.
Yeah,
and he's
again
helping,
vanity project.
Yep, he's helping his buddy. He even does the helicopter thing. He's all like, "Woo! Look at that!" Ha ha. And then he starts getting a little intimate with his buddy, and his buddy's not having any of it, nor should he.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, Jesus is a problem.
Right. But then Marie offers herself up to him, and then they just have a threesome. And they take turns with Maria. And throughout the process, we learned that she has never had an orgasm.
She is a bit of a nymphomaniac. She said she has had sex with thousands of people, but she doesn't enjoy the act of sex, as evidenced by this threesome act where she is just laying stiff as a board and not reacting to either of them.
Not reacting in the way that they were expecting. She's totally fine just letting the guys do their thing. She's, may as well be reading a book or something through the entire process. And that disillusions the guys.
But then there's also a lengthy scene later where she's cooking them crepes the next morning, and she just basically goes through her entire sexual history, and she just said, yeah, I have sex with whoever I want, and that means, I don't have relationships or whatever. I just kind of have sex with people and leave, and I've never had an orgasm. And she's sort of...
And it's no big deal.
Yeah. She doesn't seem brokenhearted by it or whatever. She seems like a very freewheeling, manic pixie dream girl of a character, with the added tweeness of being French or whatever. She reminded me a lot of Bruce Willis's girlfriend from Pulp Fiction, where she's all I want to eat blueberry pancakes and then I will have a blueberry baby. Just very twee and very adorable. But it's also in this scene where we learn through Marie that John Hamm has gotten his car back, but he sold it to someone else. And Petey is now all well, great. Now I don't even know who has the car, and someone else could get into an accident or get killed. That's great. That's weighing on my conscience. And then the film forgets about it for a good long while.
So he still wants to get his revenge on John Hamm, so they decide that they're going to break into the salon and just rob him of a bunch of stuff. Marie goes in first to sort of placate the guard dog, who's super familiar with her.
You remember the fun we had? At the fuck parties?
It's lady, I don't need to know about you and the dog at the sex parties, all right?
It's a wide spectrum in this movie. And as they're robbing the place, though, she starts flipping out over the fact that these guys promised to kiss her, I guess in some way of showing intimacy, and she gives up the robbery because they wouldn't kiss her in the middle of this fucking...
Well, it's that she just had this long dialogue scene about how she doesn't get excited sexually in like, like in intimate moments where it's just like her and another person in bed or whatever. But in this moment where they're committing crimes, she's good. She's ready to go. And I feel like the given of this scene is like, fellas, when a lady says that she's ready to go,
Yeah, you got that narrow window,
you better
fellas.
kiss her. When Amelie says kiss me, you better stop what you're doing. You better put the cash register down. You better kiss that French lady. But it doesn't work out for her, and they tie her to a chair.
Yeah, and she's gone for another stint of the movie.
And it's like 2 opportunities for this lady to get away from these maniacs.
Yeah.
And but no, they tie her to a chair, they leave her behind, and what else? They go bowling.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
In a scene that goes absolutely nowhere and adds nothing to the movie. But if there wasn't at least one scene of the Jesus bowling in this movie,
there would be riots.
There would be riots in the streets, absolutely. All that happens here is there's a sexy lady bowling in the lane next to him, and she inexplicably lets Jesus have a little Mexican tango with her.
A little salsa dance,
until, apropos of nothing, she slaps him and says, like, you ain't hot shit, and then walks out, and it's all like, what an integral scene for this movie.
You know what made me a little upset was it's Jesus going bowling, iconic imagery from the Big Lebowski. They go to a Cosm bowling alley, of which there are plentiful these days. There's no old school, retro-looking bowling alleys don't exist anymore. And I miss that aesthetic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like the Big Lebowski bowling alley, which is like one of the best examples of like production design in any Coen Brothers movie. Just like you see them in that place, and it's all like, I can smell this location. You
can
know?
Smell like the aerosol in the rental shoes. So because the 2 ladies turned down the advances of Petey and Jesus, he says, like, well, we got to get you laid, Petey. Tell you what,
no more shampoo girls is what he said.
Whatever that means. And he says,
no more women who bathe for us. We need
this is a French film, goddammit.
We need a real desperate lady.
Conditioner only.
So they go to a women's prison and they pick up the first lady to waltz out of there, and it's Susan goddamn Sarandon.
Unsurprisingly, the best performance in this movie. She's really good.
Yeah,
she gives a performance that does not deserve that is not deserving of this movie. It's
the tone of the movie really shifts from when she's introduced until like about the end of the movie. She brings like a whole different vibe to the entire proceeding.
Yeah, second time we've covered a movie with Susan Sarandon, and yet again she's playing another desperately sad woman.
Yeah,
which she can do better than almost anybody. But it might be nice to see her happy for once. But she plays Jean. At first, she doesn't tell the boys her name. She refers to her as her prison number or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, they do just pick her up out of jail because she has no one and nothing to go home to, apparently.
Jesus just seems to recognize some kind of spark in her, and so he wants her to tag along, essentially to be the new Marie. And he's like, just to show that, you can trust us here. I'll let you hold the gun. I'll let you hold all of our money. And she has nowhere else to go. She has no one to pick her up.
There's like a moment where like she's sitting on the ground. Jesus has sent Petey to get the car, and he's talking to her. And then another like couple drives up in a car, and the woman appropriately asks, hey, Susan Sarandon, are you okay? Someone who looks like the Jesus is talking to you. And like, is this going to be a problem? And of course, he pulls out a gun and he scares the other car away. And this weirdly seems to endear Susan Sarandon to Jesus a little bit, or at the very least get her to trust him a little bit more. This is a character who's very kind of cloaked in mystery. We never really learn all that much about her, but Petey and Jesus just take her on a little bit of a joyride. They go to a fancy restaurant. They eat oysters.
She has a very uncomfortable conversation with the manager of the restaurant.
Because the manager comes over, and the implication is that she thinks that they're a couple of ne'er-do-wells and they might walk out on a tab.
Yeah.
And then like as Jean is like walking out, she has like this. She like grabs this woman's arm, and she has like this long conversation about how she was in prison for so long, her menstrual cycle stopped, and it's all like, it's like appreciate the bleeding. It's like don't give up on that. And then and I don't know who this woman is who played the manager, but she has a great reaction where she's like, I was in jail for so long, like my period stopped, and she just like takes a second to process this information. She says, "That's not my fault." It's just like, because it's a very funny moment, and then the beat is great where she's saying all this stuff about her periods and her dried up uterus, and then she takes a second and goes, "Do you have any mints?" And she just takes a big handful of mints and puts them in her purse. It's good. Susan's really good in this.
Yeah.
I think that scene is kind of indicative of what the movie could have been, of like having that whimsy, having that like kind of dark humor, but that was really only, I mean, we'll get to it. There's another scene that I thought was somewhat clever, but like, I think for this one, again, like, I don't think it leaned hard enough into it. Like, I could have been a recurring bit or like something else, like just having it as a one-off. It really just died on impact. Like, I really wasn't swayed.
It felt to me like it was the closest that movie got to being a Coen Brothers movie. Like there was like some off-kilter dialogue to it that informed the characters and painted a larger picture that had no real overt interpretation. And it just sort of lingers in that moment. And, an innocent bystander character just has these eccentrics waltz in and out of their life. And that's like, you can throw a rock at any Coen Brothers movie and there's scenes like that.
Oh, many times those are the best characters. Absolutely. Like, I was saying earlier, the best Coen Brothers characters, I include the unnamed storekeeper who was unfortunate enough to
call
talk
it
to...
friendo.
Yeah, that guy's great. That guy gives such a good performance.
So after the restaurant, they just do a little detour to show Susan Sarandon the beach and everything. First time seeing the ocean in years, I imagine. And she openly thanks Petey and Jesus for showing her around. And she says, like, the only way I can really thank you is in the bedroom. So they get a hotel. They get a motel.
Which was Jesus's plan from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, I saw the look
icky
on his face. I'm like, that's gross.
Yeah, that's a little icky.
That's
very icky.
That's what he was always planning on doing, though. He didn't pick up Susan Sarandon out of like the goodness of his heart. He didn't want to be altruistic towards a woman.
No, he
an older
wore her
woman
down more
on
than
Yeah,
anything.
exactly is what happened. Yeah.
And so she takes the two men to a motel. They have a threesome. As the men lie in post-coital, she gets up, goes into the other room, and kills herself. Shoots herself dead. And the two men are alerted by the gunshot. They just, a wordless exchange, see the body, and then bolt.
And they just run.
Yeah.
Even though presumably, does Jesus take the gun with him?
He does, yes.
He does, because that's
he has it later.
Obviously that's his gun.
Yeah.
So yes.
And they
No, it's the gun that he took off of John Hamm.
That's true. So it all ties back to John Hamm.
he's at the center of all of this.
If we bother to
He kind of is.
Yeah.
if we bother to pick back up on this,
It's the closest thing to a plot.
if something ends up happening with Susan Sarandon's corpse, we never find out about it. This is the last time we hear about her as a character.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, they meet up yet again with Marie.
Yeah, they regroup back at her place, and she, all is forgiven of leaving her stranded in a hair salon.
Well, because they're very sad.
Yeah.
Because a lady that they just had random hotel sex with murdered themselves. And you know what? That would shake up anybody.
Yeah. So the next day, they're going through the belongings of Susan Sarandon, and they find a bunch of prison mail written by her estranged adult son, Jack. And they realize, oh, well, now this guy doesn't have a mother. He's just getting out of prison. Let's go meet up with him. And Jack is played by Pete Davidson.
And this is now, if you're keeping track at home, this is now the third time in this movie that a character is introduced being released from prison.
Yeah.
And now, all of this is from the French movie. Like, this is not like added into this thing. This is like a reoccurring thing where they keep meeting new characters
Just
the day that they're getting released from jail.
It's a very repetitive film.
Yes.
Super repetitive.
I think the difference between the two films is that an amount of time passes before they go to the jail to pick up the son. In the Jesus Rolls, it's quite literally the next day. The timing could not be better.
Now,
I guess the implication is that, spending time in prison changes a person. It's like the whole Brooks was here type situation. Some people can't hack it on the outside. I would imagine Susan Sarandon maybe wanted to give it maybe like a week before killing herself, but...
I mean, one night with John Turturro, that's going to be enough to drive anyone to suicide.
So, like, I just had, like, an awkward three-way with two guys I just met. It's not going to get any better than this for me. I'm sorry.
Now,
I'm going to kill myself. And then, like, seconds after she kills herself, she's like, right, Jack's getting out of jail tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So...
completely forgets to pick up her son.
Now, from the perspective of this guy getting out of jail, he sees two people he's never met before. They claim to be friends of his mom. He asks, where's my mom? And they come up with this bullshit lie that she's in Portugal, which is a damn lie. I don't know why they just don't admit that, hey, we were friends with your mom. On the other side, she's dead.
By the way, this was yesterday.
This was yesterday. No, he's just like, yeah, your mom's not here. She sent us. Come on, like, get into this car. We're gonna drive you to, this lake house that we conveniently.
This lake house that we don't know how we acquired this lake house, but all of a sudden we own this. Now. I assume they just took it. They take everything in this. So yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this is Marie. We sleep with her, and you can openly sleep with her as well. Go ahead, off you go now. And it's like, this guy isn't going to be a little suspicious of all this shit going on.
I mean, if he is, he doesn't bring it up. He just goes right along with it. Jesus and PD are letting the two of them do their thing, and they're down by the lake and fishing by the creek.
Yeah, say like we did good in this world.
And they're saying it's all like all the bad things we did in this movie. It might be a good idea to try and do like something good for once, and we're doing really good by this guy. You're completely gaslighting him. Yeah. You're stringing him along. You're not giving him important information about his dead mother. Yeah. You're not doing good. You're bad people.
And now you're just in this weird incestuous commune altogether. This is the ground floor of a cult.
Exactly.
Of a sex cult.
By adding Pete Davidson, it's now become a commune.
Yeah.
Like when it was just the three of them, like we're just like a freewheeling French film. You add a fourth person into it, it's like now it's a cult.
Yeah.
This is what it becomes. Petey and Jesus rush back to the cabin because they hear cries coming from inside the cabin, but they're not the bad type of cries. They're the good type of cries. It turns out that Pete Davidson is the one man who's able to sexually satisfy Marie. Look, the man has a track record for a reason, is all I will say.
Yeah.
All right? He has a long list of seemingly satisfied women ahead of him.
Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian. I think he commented on this once on SNL, and it's just like, how do you do it, Pete? And he's just like, I don't know.
I think even he is consistently bewildered by his sexual charisma.
What did he say? It was just like, you remember a couple of years ago when like an entire city pretended that Make-A-Wish kid was Batman? That's what it feels like.
But the implication here is that Jack is a virgin, and that's what excites Marie. Mm-hmm. I guess he's more...
She says she does all the work.
She does all the work, because he doesn't know what he's doing, and apparently after 1,000 conquests, that never came up before. Mm-hmm. Of the thousands of men she slept with, they all wanted to take charge, which I guess is more of an implication on us as a species more than anything else. The other thing that I thought was weird is that maybe it fits in with like the timeline, because again, this was filmed in 2017. I know for certain movies, Pete Davidson has a lot of his tattoos digitally removed. And when he's shirtless in this movie, he has a couple of arm tattoos, but his chest is entirely bare. And I think most people know what Pete Davidson looks like with his chest off. And there's tattoos.
I mean, I've never slept with a man, so I don't know.
No, but he's often shirtless. But the thing is, but you're aware of the fact that Pete Davidson has many, many tattoos. Yes,
I guess
that's like his whole identity. Is like he's like the guy with tattoos, and he sleeps with all the women.
Oh,
but he's weirdly tattooless in this movie. So it's like, why did they go through... He's just getting out of prison. If ever there was a movie to support Pete Davidson having all of his tattoos, it would be this one. But I guess John Turturro shelled out the money to take some of Pete Davidson's tattoos off his body. Who knew?
Or maybe he just didn't get those chest tattoos yet.
Again, I gotta check the timeline of when he got all those timelines. But
they're also really famously dumb tattoos as well. So maybe it's just... anyone who has those tattoos in prison isn't going to make it.
And I know that he has said that he's gotten some of them removed since then. So it's always the case.
Yeah, the one that said like Ariana on it or something.
Probably you got that one.
So
sorry, before we move on, this scene did have probably my favorite line from the movie, and it's kind of
important to note.
Yeah,
when you
absolutely.
Like something.
I did not laugh out loud, but I recognized it as clever.
It was like a ha-ha.
Not even.
Not
it
even
was
that.
more
Too
just
much,
like
too much.
just
Let the men speak.
Well done, John Turturro on this line. It's after they've been informed that Marie has finally achieved orgasm, and it's John Turturro talking to Petey, and John Turturro makes kind of I can't remember the exact line, but it's kids these days no respect, and. It's very much playing on that line that you were mentioning earlier of like, you know, amongst the thousands, nobody has taken the time to wonder what she wants. And it's speaking to that dynamic of patriarchy in kind of a funny kind of irreverent way, but like still having that kind of sarcastic edge to it. So I'm like, well done. That's a good line. Well delivered. It just wasn't enough for me to laugh out loud, but I did sort of acknowledge it and be like, well done. The one good line of this film.
If John Turturro had perhaps been wearing a tie when he was doing it, he kind of did one of these where he was all like, "Oh, kids today, no respect." Oh, I tell you, oh boy.
When I first
Vinny Boombots, my doctor. I gotta tell you. No, sorry.
Well, when I first watched The Big Lebowski back in 2004, I never thought I would have heard the Jesus utter a line such as that in a.
Hey man, we got the Jesus wrong, man. He ain't into kids.
Yeah,
this isn't your grandpa's Jesus.
That's right. There's a lot of depth to this guy. So they need money. And I guess the reservoirs run dry. And Pete Davidson says, like, well, I have a way to get money. Just going to need a gun. And so they loan him the gun and they go meet up with, I suppose, a former guard that he knew at the prison.
He's the thing he's laying out is all like, I know like an easy score. There's like an old man. He like keeps the cash register unlocked. Jesus and Petey ask no follow-up questions. And when they go to this place, a not old man walks out, and they're able to piece together very quickly that this is a prison guard who is on the inside with Pete Davidson, and Pete Davidson just point blank murders this man in cold blood. Jesus and Petey run away, and Pete Davidson just kind of awkwardly stands there, almost as if this character has resigned himself to his fate, and knows that he won't get away with this, but he had to kill this man. This man had to die.
He disappears into the void with all the other cameos.
With all the other characters that, yes. He got more than one scene, but
That's
yes,
right.
Pete Davidson, the amount that Pete Davidson does have to do, it does almost equate a cameo in this. He doesn't really end up doing all that much, but yes.
Yeah, fucking like fourth build on this.
But now they have, they are accessories to a murder, and they are in all of the papers. So they try to ditch Marie at least one more time.
At least this one has like an excuse for
Yes.
it, where like
This is like mildly altruistic on their part.
Jesus and Petey both have a rap sheet, but Marie doesn't.
Yes.
And so if they like
Which
just,
doesn't make sense because she was tied to a chair in a robbery earlier in the film.
And she got out.
And just was not questioned by the police and like
I
was
know.
very much a part of letting them break in.
I actually never thought about that. They never explain how Marie got out of that.
That's what I'm
situation.
saying. It's the room. She definitely has breast cancer. Like that's what this movie is.
you were last seen in the getaway car of the people that stole the car of your employer. Are you not an accomplice? Yeah.
I can't believe I'm about to bring.
Are you going to defend this movie?
No, I'm not about. I'm not going to
Thank
defend
God.
this movie. You mentioned you. There's no other way to say this. Speaking of Audrey Tautu's breasts,
Go on.
there are multiple scenes in this movie where she is shirtless. She's wearing this sweater in the early stages of this movie that's like this pink knit sweater or whatever. There's one scene where the three of them are like walking from like a ways away. I think it's the first time that's like, let's go to the beach. And we see the three of them for like this long establishing shot of just them walking towards the camera. For the longest time, I thought Audrey Tautou was topless. And then as she got closer, it's just all like, no, she's just not wearing a bra. And this sweater leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, and then like a scene or two later, she is topless.
And she is
sunbathing.
topless, yes, so
we got that out of the way.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. So what I'm trying to say is why waste my time? Just have her be naked the entire film. Anyway.
Yeah, so they decide, like, Marie decides, like, you can't get rid of me that easily. And so
It's
then
all like, well, we have previously.
yeah. So then they steal a Rolls Royce away from a chauffeur as he's pissing, facing away from the wall, so you can actually see them steal the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, my dude. That's
Yeah.
like, he's not even like remotely trying to be subtle. It's just like, it's the type of piss where it's all like, he was ready to go. If he didn't piss right then, like it would have gone in the pants.
So they steal the Rolls Royce. They all take turns having sex in the car, and then they steal a smart car, and they have some.
Marie likes it now. Marie likes having sex with them now because Pete Davidson has shown her what real love is all about. So now I can have sex with John Turturro.
And she can orgasm with these two guys now because
the seal was broken.
Yeah, the problem wasn't them. It turns out.
Turns out it wasn't the patriarchy. It was just she needed the one, and she's good to go.
And now the dam has been broken.
Yeah.
Look, I don't get it either, but clearly there are many satisfied women who used to date Pete Davidson, so what can I say?
They steal a smart car, and they have some wry observations about smart cars.
Oh, isn't it funny how small they are?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. He's not happy because he's all crammed in the back.
But they don't
Fuck the environment.
But they don't like the smart cars, so they find this really nice muscle car that's been
That looks
left.
suspiciously like the car that John Hamm had at the beginning of the movie. Almost as if the chickens are coming home to roost.
It was a different color, though.
Yeah, you could be mistaken. That's why I would have appreciated if there was like an earlier scene where they were doing that initial joyride where, like, I don't know, like Petey accidentally slashes part of the leather upholstery, so there's a very noticeable tear in it. So,
or they go full Grand Theft Auto and then they just go to like a spray shop. Like the cops are after them and it's just all like, now it's like red.
I don't know if there was like some visual tell in the car that when they're in there, they're like, wait a second, I remember this car. Oh my God, the axle. And yeah, they veer too far over a right, and then it crashes into a tunnel.
So, okay, two things about this. One, what happens is they drive their smart car and they park because now Marie has to go to the bathroom. So they stop and they see the muscle car over here. And there's a family who have rented a boat. And it's very obvious that this is the family that has bought the car from John Hamm. We're several steps ahead of these characters. We already know where this is leading. It takes a really long time for these characters to figure out what's about to happen. But they sort of wave to the family in the boat, and then they drive off with the car, and the dad's all like, hey, they stole my car. And there's a dad and a mom and a daughter in the boat. Now, in the French film, this plays out quite differently.
Oh, is there a rape involved?
It starts off with a mom and dad and daughter in a boat. And as they drive away, there are only two people in that boat. Guess who they take with them?
The daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess what age the daughter is? Too young is the answer to that question. So this is the thing, as you were saying earlier, Jameson. So they're driving. We know that the car's the axle is going to break and the tire is going to go off. We know that like a crash is imminent or whatever. And they drive into a tunnel, they start swerving, and then they crash. And then like a single tire starts rolling out.
And I thought, well, that's the end of the Jesus character.
And I'm sitting down, I'm all like, and fade to black, right? Because like, there's no good way to end this movie because this movie fundamentally does not work. But if you were to end this movie
with the death of the Jesus
on
character.
any note, it needs to end with... I'm saying all three of these guys gotta go. These
consequences for their actions.
Absolutely. Consequences, actions.
Cosmic justice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's somewhat a bit on the nose a way to end this movie, but like, yes, at the very least, that is a button to wrap this movie up. We take a second... And then we hear Jesus is talking, and then all three of them walk out of the tunnel completely unscathed. They don't suffer any consequences. They don't have a teenage kidnappee with them to do horrible stuff with. It just ends on a wet fart of a note where they're just hitchhiking, and then it freeze frames on them with their thumbs up. Because isn't that artistic? Isn't that like a French new wave of ending a movie on a freeze frame? It's like, where are they going to go next? What kind of shenanigans are they going to get into? Who could care? Yes, but inevitably this is the end of the Jesus rolls.
Thankfully.
And like, look, I've said it a couple of times on this episode. Things could have been a lot worse. They could have been a lot grosser.
Not by much.
He could have literally adapted this screenplay and added in all the really bad stuff. I'm not even mentioning like certain things where it's like technically this little girl in this boat shows up later. It turns out that they like break into a random house and start stealing like a bunch of underwear, and apparently they can recognize the girl from the underwear that they smelled earlier. Again, France was going through some shit in the 70s, and maybe they're not through with it yet. I don't know. Look, this French film, it's not high on my list of shit to check out.
Well, why bother? You already saw
I already saw the superior version. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
with a familiar character to sort of guide you through
that we all love.
That we all used to love.
Who definitely we used to tolerate. Yeah.
I wondered watching this film, was this a prequel or a sequel to The Big Lebowski? Like, what is the timing of this film in relation to The Big Lebowski? Because he has committed his crime in The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
So that would make it seem like it happened before.
So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot to mention this earlier. You would have to assume, given the actual passage of time, that this is a sequel to The Big Lebowski, given that the Jesus is an older man here.
Yeah.
What I noticed, and this is just like pure laziness on John Turturro's part, when we go to the flashback of him and the little boy in the washroom together, he is the same age that he is in like the majority of the... No attempt was made to make John Turturro look younger for that one scene, even though he's supposed to be his Big Lebowski age by this point.
Well, when he's released from prison, they're handing him back all his belongings that they confiscated when he was first booked. And among them are the iconic purple shoes and the purple jumpsuit that he was wearing.
Oh, iconic.
Yeah. So I got to assume that this is post Big Lebowski.
But they have him go door to door in The Big Lebowski. Like when they're talking about him saying 8-year-olds, there's him like going door to door, and then it opens, and then it just cuts before he says anything.
He's been arrested since then for doing for any number of things. He just likes to steal cars and rob houses or whatever. So he got arrested. So and I believe the implication is that the pederasty charges have been thrown out by this point in time.
Do you think so? I thought that was what he was in jail for, like the Christopher Walken thing, like at the beginning. Like I thought that was the charge that he was in jail for at that time, and then all this extra stuff.
I don't believe so. I think all of that has happened before he's even introduced in Big Lebowski.
Oh my god, I just remembered something I read on IMDb. They mention in the framed photograph that Christopher Walken has in his office about like Jesus Quintana wins bowling for the prison team. They mentioned that it was Jeffrey Lebowski, the Big Lebowski, who sponsored that team. So would that be something that he did while he was,
What, two characters from that movie who never met?
Yeah.
And didn't have any connection to each other whatsoever?
So, like, before, like, he lost... Well, he didn't lose all his money, but...
It's also revealed that the Big Lebowski is broke by the end of that movie and doesn't have money of his own. But...
Yeah, because he was bad with money.
Making it seem, again, like this was a prequel.
Which is why he was bad with money, because he did things like sponsor prison bowling teams.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess with, like...
The Big Lebowski wouldn't sponsor a bowling team. That's the dude's...
That's the dude's thing.
He doesn't care about bowling.
I don't know where I was going with that. It was just like some bullshit thing.
I remember reading that too. That they did try to seed, I suppose, universe building.
Yeah, really.
There's like a fucking news report that
Donnie appears as a Force ghost or something.
Another character showed up. Yeah. I mean, again, this is the problem with having a spinoff of this character is that. If you're not,
he doesn't work.
If you're not having his bowling buddy with the mustache with him or whatever, then there's no reason. Because none of the other characters, the only characters who interact with him, are just view him with like disdain and disgust, if anything else. Yeah. So yeah, it's very silly.
But
this entire movie.
Does it have a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing?
I'm going to start with Danny.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
I've been quite clear.
You previously stated that this is the worst thing we've ever made you watch.
It is the worst thing you've ever made me watch. It's felt more like a series of vignettes of like, this happened and then this happened and then this happened and this happened. And I've said a few times that like these things happen and then they're never referred to again. And like things just keep changing and there's no consistency to it. There's no plot. There's no... like overarching theme or character growth. Like the only one who has character growth is Marie because she learned how to orgasm. Like that is her arc.
The most important arc of all.
But like there's nothing else, and like the little vignettes don't have enough depth to them to really have anything meaningful to say. Like I think if they really wanted to do it, make it a TV show and then spend like more time with each of these little stories so that you can get further into Pete Davidson's character or like John Hamm's character and like give it a bit more depth. Or
So you're saying the problem with this is that it's not longer? Because there's not more of it?
I mean, all of the people that they had are respectable actors. Like that
Yeah.
was the other thing I was thinking of. I'm like, this movie doesn't have bad enough acting for me to find that enjoyable.
No, everyone who's in this has been good to great in other stuff.
Yeah, and they're like neutral. I wouldn't say they're good, but like they're like also not awful either. Like they're not laughably awful in like a lot of the other movies that you've had me watch, like where the acting is like just a joy to see because you're like, ha ha ha, this person's doing their best. But like these people
the last
are.
time you were on, we made you watch a David Hasselhoff movie. So
Yeah.
that probably that says everything you need to say right
Yeah.
there.
So like for this film, there was nothing that was so awful that made it enjoyable just to sort of get that charm of, you know, the quote unquote bad but good movie. There wasn't enough edge to it to give it that kind. I wouldn't have liked it. I'm not a big fan of edgy movies, but I can at least see the appeal of them where they're like trying to say something about society, that could have given it a bit of punch.
If he tried to make like a Bad Lieutenant style movie where like Jesus is just an absolutely irredeemable scumbag rather than the moments of humanity that he allows to like poke through in this.
Sure, but I mean, like, even if like he doesn't do anything that's so terrible either. Like he doesn't do anything that like an action hero wouldn't do in any other film. Like he doesn't. It doesn't say or do anything like this. I think I don't know if I mentioned it before in this podcast, but I know I said it to Jameson. This movie was boring. It was so boring because nothing happens, like
it's very rambling.
there's no.
There's multiple threesomes, and yet it's like one of the most boring movies I've watched.
It's so repetitive, and I think that's what I'm kind of touching on. Is like there's so many threesomes that like if there was one threesome, you'd be like okay, but by the time you get to like half a dozen, you're like okay, I'm done.
Like it's basically a porn.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe I texted you that last night. It's like, this movie's basically a porn.
Like, there are porns with better story arcs than
more
this.
likable characters.
The porn within the Big Lebowski. What's that called?
Log jamming.
Log jamming.
Better porn and shorter than this.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a character they could have brought back. Jackie Treehorn. That's a character that would fit in with this. Although, is that actor dead? Maybe that actor passed away, Ben Gazzara. Anyway, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. You know, if we're looking at it as just like a remake of this French film, like Jesus Christ, there's probably better French films to remake than this one. This is just like deeply problematic that I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Jesus in The Seventh Seal, which I don't know if you are.
Of course. Yeah. Playing chess with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I think Jesus.
I mean, that's a Swedish film, but close enough.
Isn't it French?
Oh no, Ingmar Bergman.
Oh right. Sorry.
The Swedish auteur, but yeah, but like the Jesus. Speaking of Audrey Tautou, like the Jesus in Amelie, where he's going around and he's doing like cute little matchmaking things for like other people.
Yeah. But my other point was that as a weird character study of the Jesus character, absolutely unnecessary. You could have made like an entire movie of just doing the French thing. There was no reason whatsoever to take that character, flesh him out, and give him his own little side story. I think the Coen brothers wisely decided we're not going to have any involvement with this. We don't think that there's anything to this Jesus character.
And from everything that I've read about it, like on paper, that guy is like basically like the most broadest sketch of an idea. John Turturro is the one that brought all like the ideas.
Yeah, the mannerisms and like the coke nail and things like that. The licking of the bowling ball, little things like that.
Do we like the licking of the bowling ball? Is that like an endearing sight from The Big Lebowski? Is that like one of like the top 5 images from it, or like whatever? Or is it just like whatever? I could take it or leave it, honestly.
I didn't in the Big Lebowski. I was like, it just speaks to his character that he's a creep, and it's shorthand for this guy is a creep. Like as far as visual symbols go, like you've got that the dialogue around him being a pederast.
If you're taking on principle that this character is a pederast, then him licking the bowling ball makes sense. But when it's Christopher Walken going, I've never seen anyone lick a bowling ball before, it's all like,
well, I have in the Big Lebowski, a better movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work in this film, but nothing worked in this film.
The Jesus character works well in the Big Lebowski in super small doses. I don't think this movie robs him of the mystique whatsoever. I regret watching this piece of shit. This is a nothing from me.
Look, it's bad.
Yeah,
I'm not like arguing like for it or whatever. The thing is like I can tell what kind of movie John Turturro wanted this to be. And the thing is that the type of movie that he wanted it to be, there's no audience for it anymore. I would even wager that there was like a very limited audience for it when it was released in 1974. I mean, sensibilities were a lot different back then. Like movies about the sexual revolution were still kind of like interesting. Like people were like just starting to examine like ideas about like sexuality and other facets of that nature or whatever. But like obviously time has gone on. Obviously elements of this source material are wildly problematic now. And if you are going to remake this movie, you have to make a movie that's going to reckon with that. And Turturro, the director, seems too scared to reckon with any of that. He's not interested in making a movie as hard-edged as that, so he sanitizes it. But again, like I said earlier, it's super weird that he's made this movie about this character, a character that we as audience members have already accepted is a bad person, and
we didn't need to know more about him.
We didn't need to know more about him, and we definitely didn't need to like rewrite his history. No. So it's all like, actually, he's not that bad a guy. Because when you start off your movie by saying, actually, he's not all that bad, all you're left with as an audience member is just being like, okay. And then you watch this entire movie and you're like, I don't know, he's still pretty bad. He's not great. I get that he's not a kitty diddler, but like he's not like a nice man. So yeah, it's just a really bizarre movie. It's quite boring. It's maybe just weird enough that I didn't hate it. Here's the thing. It's like, I'm not gonna disagree with you that it's like incredibly dull and it doesn't go anywhere, but it is weird. And to me, that gets you a couple of bonus points.
You get 1 star out of 10?
Yeah, sure. Let's say that.
All right, you're saved from the dustbin of history.
1.5.
Yeah.
The Jesus rolls. But there we are. And now here we are at the end of our Coen character actor miniseries. Did we talk about the Coen brothers enough? Is there any Coen brother topics left on the table that we didn't?
No, you should have done that in the last 2 episodes.
Well, it's too late.
Yeah.
But as I said on the first episode, this isn't about the Coen brothers, it's about their characters.
So did we learn anything about the actors? I learned that, at least in the last 2 cases, Frances McDormand and Steve Buscemi can absolutely take a core concept of a good character and elevate a really terrible movie just through their performance and presence alone. And then fucking John Turturro had to go and take all the way down the stairs.
But again,
he's still good at what he does.
This is the Turturroest movie we could have covered. This is 100% his concept from beginning to end. This is his baby. This is the movie that he wants you to see. If we had done just him acting in another person's movie, I'm sure he would have elevated that. Sure. But he was wearing way too many hats in this one. And by hats, I mean weird mesh head things that like
the hairnet or whatever.
I don't know what's going on there, but I never did. But
well, he wore that in the Big Lebowski. Like that was a costume throwback. I remember.
I know, but it's gotten like even longer now. It's not the same thing.
Also, he's graying too, so he just like it's like dress your age, old man.
That's the moral of the story. Is he needed
at your age, old man.
He needed to dress better.
All right. Danny, thanks for coming back to the show, buddy.
Of course.
We've never, and I was going over your episodes. I do in fact know that this is your 4th episode.
Great.
I believe we've said this last time because you are like our pitch hitter guest. Like we can basically twist your arm into coming in and being on any episode. But truly, the next time you're here, we need to cover something that you want to talk about because we haven't actually done that yet.
Yeah.
You've been so good to just come on and
Very
just be our
patient
guest
with our
for
bullshit.
whatever nonsense we want to rope you into. But like, you know what? Unless you want to put it on mic right now, who do you want to cover? Who's an actor you would want to cover the next time you're on?
You're putting me on the spot here. I kind of my mind immediately goes to Hulk Hogan, except I know that you've done him.
Well, he's in the news.
There's never a better time to cover Hulk Hogan
As an actor.
As an
Exactly,
actor, yeah. Well, I mean,
We've
like,
already covered 3 of his movies, and he was only in like 10.
Yeah.
So
Hey, you know, we've never had you on for a WrestleMania episode, so
maybe
maybe
we did. He was on Final Score,
Fuck, you're right.
and he was in the one before that we never actually released.
Oh
so
my
yeah,
God.
technically he's been on 2.
All right.
All right. Well, think of whatever non-controversial dead figure we can cover right now. But that was The Jesus Rules, directed by John Turturro. If you like this episode, please check our back catalog of episodes. If you go further into the back catalog, they will be under the title of The Fuck Is This? Don't worry, it's the same podcast. It's just Jameson and me. We're just having a laugh. We're just having some fun. We're a lot like other movie podcasts, but the difference is that we make jokes and we don't take it very seriously. You can follow us on all of the social media except
The social media.
The social media. You can follow us on the social media.
Yeah, someone's certainly on the sauce right now.
Except for the social media that is run by Nazis. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. I guess that one's kind of Nazi adjacent. I don't know. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. You can follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Cass Lesgard.
You can follow me on my YouTube channel where I used to make cartoons and stuff called Uptown Slim Jim. And in the immortal words of John Turturro, nobody fucks with the Jesus.